And we are officially live. Give it a couple minutes for the fans to join us. What's up, Jay Money? What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Kevin? Let me silence my phone real quick.
Put them lead calls on pause for the next 45 minutes to an hour.
You know it goes crazy. Hey,
Have
man, I feel like it's been a long time. It's only been a week, but I traveled the whole East Coast. The last 4 days. So I'm just happy to be back in Miami.
how was your trip?
It was my father died, so I had to go up to Baltimore for his funeral. So of course that's difficult to deal with, but my trip was a little bit exciting because I also met my brother and sister who I've never met in person before. So
Nice.
I got to meet them for the first time this Saturday. So that was pretty huge. Of course, I had a little bit of nervousness, but we sat there and talked like we've known each other our whole lives. So
That's
it was
awesome.
one thing kind of closed, but a new birth began at the same time. So
A
I'm
new
looking forward to
relationship.
looking forward to building that relationship really really big. My sister has a 17-month-old niece who's amazing and beautiful. So yeah, man.
Look at you. You came back an uncle like that
I
real quick.
did definitely.
That's
you
cool.
know,
And are
I
they
see my,
older than you or are they younger?
they're younger. No, I'm the oldest. They're all younger. Yep. So
Now,
they're younger. So
I know you had mentioned to me that some of the conversations and a lot of the back and forth between you and your father as you guys established a relationship again was actually real estate related, right? You guys talked a lot about.
yeah, I mean, I'd be the first. Of course, me and him weren't as close when I was younger. But he got me in real estate. He was doing real estate when I was in college and leaving college, and he started telling me about real estate. And I literally went into real estate because of the words that he told me. He's the reason why I'm a pescatarian right now. He helped me change my diet. I've lost 40 pounds in 2 years because of him. A lot
Wow.
of stuff that I see myself today is because of words that he would just say to me on his phone calls we had. So he definitely had a lot of impact in where I'm at today for sure.
Wow. Man, I'm glad that worked out. I'm glad you guys connected with your siblings. Now, are they older or younger?
They're younger. They're younger.
And
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
I'm 10 years older than my sister and 13 years older than my brother. Then of
and
course go ahead.
you had mentioned that you were talking to your brother and he wanted to get into real estate investing, right?
I did. I've been actually talking to my brother probably about 2 years now. He actually reached out to me. He had saw some real estate stuff I was posting on Instagram. And he reached out about that. So when I was actually there on Saturday, we talked a lot about just that. He's in the Baltimore area. I actually looked at the house in Baltimore when I was up there too. So, but me and him talked a long time about helping him get into the business. So that's another thing where it's like real estate has done a lot of things for me. It's giving me the flexibility to kind of take care of my family, and I coach football. I'm at all my kids' events. It might be a door to me and him being even closer now. Who knows? Hopefully, we'll be doing some deals here before this year's over.
Yes, sir.
So
God
shout out to
willing.
Vaughn. Shout out to Jasmine.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the family and the rest of you guys. Now we got a couple people on board checking us out. Today's show is going to be about real estate investing with no money down. Is that true? Is it real? Is this something that is just a marketing hook? Is this something that can actually be done? So we'll talk about all the different ways where you can potentially get into the real estate game without putting any of your money down. We'll also talk about a lot of the shady
Let's
ways
talk
that
about
yeah.
it.
I know Jay was fired up this morning when we talked about it. He was ready to get his game face on.
I just think it's time for people to talk about it, right? I mean, I was fired up about a lot of stuff today, man. I'm just fired up. Like I said, I just came back from some fired up, experiences. So, but I know
That
me and you actually do some real no money down investing. We've talked about it on the show, but I don't know if everyone else who's saying that there's no money down is actually doing no money down. So let's
yeah.
kind of have a discussion about that and see what the people think.
Yeah, 100%. Right off the jump, we got one of our Facebook members. If you guys are on Facebook, make sure you jump onto our Facebook group. It's completely free. It's called Shut Up and Invest. They're asking if we offer mentorship. We definitely do. We have a free training course coming on on how to get into real estate investing, just go to shutupandinvest.com, and we're putting those videos together. Hopefully it'll be released by next week, God willing. We got the web team working on it right now. We're uploading a lot of the content, but the videos are done. So this is like, we're right here at the finish line. And then we do one-on-one mentorship as well. So go ahead and reach out to us through our social medias, and we'll be happy to talk to you guys about it. And part of that mentorship is creative financing, buying property with no money down. But before we get into the good stuff, let's talk about a little bit about the bad stuff. So you will see a lot of the no money down promotion and marketing for these hotel style events where they're packing hundreds of people in there, and they're promising that you can get into real estate investing with no money down. Doesn't matter what your credit is. And they're not necessarily lying. So let's clarify. There is ways to be able to do the game, no matter what your credit score is, no matter how much money you have. But it's not like I'm going to come here and they have a special program that I could put my name and phone number down, and I'm going to be able to pick a house and then be able to just say, okay, give me that no money down program. Let me get that keys to the house, and let me go into the situation with, let me not even put my name in here. Let's just give me the house. I'll make some money and I'll pay you back. That's kind of the way they make it seem. It's that easy. And there is some blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. You want to break it down, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, anytime you hear no money down, anything, a car, rent a center, there's always some kind of money involved in there. There's always something in the fine print, and also a lot of these seminars that are saying no money down, they're not even teaching the strategies that really are no money down, wholesaling, right? People say wholesaling, no money down. Well, any good wholesalers putting some money up, right? They're putting some money up the market for leads. They're putting some money up for systems and processes and apps that they're using, right? So it's not truly that it's no money down. So I think it should be little money down. You can wholesale a property with little money down, right? You can make huge margins in wholesaling, properties little money down, right? But you got to figure out exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, so here's a couple different ways you could walk into a property with no money down, right? Let's clarify. So let's go next time you hear the commercials and you hear if it sounds too good to be true, well, hold on a second. It actually can be true. Just understand the game and how it works. So first and foremost, there is loan programs out there that will give you 0% down payment if you are buying a property and you're a veteran. So there is banks out there. If you're a veteran, you served, you have eligibility to qualify for the VA loan, you can buy a property if you're going to live in it as a primary residence at 100% financing, meaning you can come in with zero money down payment. However, there is closing cost. Closing costs are what the title company charges. The title company is the legal entity or the attorney, the closing attorney, depending on which one you end up using. Sometimes they're both. They'll charge their fees. The state and county where you're at, they have their fees, taxes, recording fees to record everything in public records and make this a legal transaction that can be searched, and it protects you and the other person that sold the property. There's insurances that need to be put on the property. That's part of the typical closing cost. Sometimes you want a survey on the property to make sure where your property lines are, to make to make sure you're not building a fence or a pool or landscaping in your neighbor's yard.
What about appraisals, right? Appraisal.
There's an appraisal fee.
When you buy a house, you usually have to pay some prepaid taxes and insurance and escrow. So, I mean, I know you get this a lot. You're a lender, but there's been many deals I've done where we get to the closing table and they don't realize when I send them that HUD the day before, they have to bring that money to close,
Yeah.
So,
and I talk to a lot of these VAs, and even within their organization, whether they're still active serving or they're retired, they are not clear that no money down, 100% financing for a veteran still requires you to pay for closing costs. Now you can negotiate with the seller to pay a portion of that closing cost. And there's lender incentives. For example, we have, if you're a veteran out there, reach out to us. We have programs that we also help you with those closing costs for being a veteran. So there's different specifics that either sellers or lenders want to offer as an extra incentive to do business with us. But technically, you have to pay closing costs no matter if you're a veteran, if you're a real estate investor, if you're a first-time home buyer. There's always closing costs required in the transaction that you got to get creative and figure out a way to pay for them if you don't have the money yourself. And that is by negotiating with the people involved. And a lot of the times people don't understand that if you're going to negotiate price, let's say, sometimes, especially if you're getting financing, negotiating a $10,000 discount on the price, let's say you're getting it for $100,000 and you're trying to come get it at $90,000. Well, it depends. Is that the best strategy? Well, if you need to also come in and pay $10,000 worth of closing costs,
definitely, yep.
What good is it to bring the price down to $90,000 and you got a $10,000 discount on the price, but now you still got to come up with $10,000 in closing costs that you may not have?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, when you're a realtor, especially negotiating for your client, the first thing you should do is figure out how much money they have to close. Right? Because that's going to determine exactly how I'm going to go about that offer, because many times, tell them, Kevin, paying $5,000, even $10,000 more on a property, how much of a difference per month in your mortgage does that really equate
on
to?
Average, rule of thumb, it's about $50 for every $10,000 you bring down the price, whether you negotiated it down or you're taking $10,000 of your money and paying it down. It's only about a $50 a month rule of thumb on average difference in your monthly mortgage payments. And when people find that out, they're like, wait a minute, I'm going to have to put $10,000 out of my pocket to bring the price down. And it's only going to make a $50 dent in my monthly payment.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in that case, what's better? Leaving the property price at $100,000 when you're negotiating, but telling the seller, instead of giving me that discount to $90,000, why don't you give me a seller contribution, a seller credit towards the closing costs? So what the seller agrees to is, fine, I'm cool with walking away with $90,000 either way. So let's leave the price at $100,000, assuming it appraises and everybody's cool with that price point. And we'll give you a credit towards the closing costs. So from the profits that the seller was supposed to get, they're going to take $10,000 and give you that credit towards the closing costs. Now, by being creative, by understanding how the game works, you're now paying a portion of the closing costs, if not all of them, and you're not having to bring in money down in these type of examples, whether it be a VA loan, a traditional loan, cash deal. You can negotiate a seller credit for closing costs on any single deal.
Definitely can. Yep, happens every day. Now, that VA loan, right, or conventional loans, for instance, right now, is this only for owner-occupant, or if I'm a VA and I want to buy an investment property, do I have the same opportunity?
Yeah, so VA loans for 100% financing, zero money down, is for owner-occupied. Now, if I'm a VA that's being transferred, I have eligibility. If I still have eligibility on my certificate from the VA program, I can now buy in another place for 100% as well. So I've done plenty of times where my veteran client has got two properties that are both 100% financing. So if you're a veteran, or if you know a veteran out there, make sure they understand the advantages that they have, because they could potentially start picking up their first couple properties with no money down by using this program out there.
And they could use that on the multifamily, correct? So if you're a veteran, you buy a multifamily, right?
I got a guy that's doing it. Yeah, I got a guy that he's doing it with duplexes. So he bought two duplexes, one in Georgia when he was stationed there, and then one here in Florida. So technically, he's in the game with 4 units already.
Smart, super smart.
Yeah, and now conventional, Now you got to come in with a down payment, 3 to 5% down. And now we're not talking about no money down either. So that's for the VA program. That's really the only 100% traditional financing. For the FHAs, for the conventional, there are grant programs if you're going to occupy the property. So this is not necessarily for real estate investors directly. But if a real estate investor decides to partner with a family member or a really good friend that they trust, and they say, listen, I'm going to help you get into your first property, and we're going to partner on this deal, and you'll live in it, you'll cover the cost. And then when you decide to go get another property that'll help you basically climb the ladder of building your portfolio, we'll leave these properties as rentals. This is a strategy that I consult, and in part of the mentorship program, we go over this, getting people that do not own properties yet and sponsoring them and mentoring them and partnering with them to start collecting their properties. Because as an investor, if you're trying to get financing, usually you got to come in with 20-30% down, depending on the program.
Reserves, you need reserves, and then you only have so many homes you can buy too with conventional financing as an investor.
Right. So if you start partnering with your cousin or with your brother or with your best friend that doesn't own a property, now they can buy it as a primary residence. You can be on title as well. You can even be a co-signer if needed for them to qualify. But now you're getting the benefits of not an investor loan program, but a traditional primary resident, first-time home buyers a lot of the times. And you can qualify for these 3 to 5% down programs. If you partner with a VA, you can get into the 100% one. And you can also qualify for some of these grant programs that different states and counties offer, which could give the down payment assistance. Sometimes they give a portion of it. Sometimes they give all of it. So we've gotten people into properties with down payment assistance programs. And I point this out, and we started out with this, and we're going to get into high level at real estate investing, wholesaling, and creative financing in a second. But I wanted, especially for my investors out there, they tend to forget the power of partnership with the right people.
Definitely.
They tend to forget that if I have a family member who I know, like, and trust, and we partner together and we build their portfolio over the next 5 years, benefiting with 3% down payments and 5% down payments on the conventional and FHA loan programs, I can build a nice little portfolio with this partner here without ever having to give 20 to 25% down payment. That is a very good way of building a buy and hold real estate portfolio and also helping out someone to get into the game and build their financial freedom.
Well, we talked about that, right? So many investors have people on their phone that could be sources of, that's the type of financing right now. That's a private lender for you to just partner with, right? There's so many contacts in your phone that you don't even know what kind of opportunities you guys can build together. Just go through your phone every day and say, oh, that person's that person's that. Start partnering, building wealth together. That's good. That's good stuff from the conventional side, which Kevin is the master of. He's done loans for me, done loans for friends. If you ever need some institutional loans, institutional loans, not right now, right?
We're coming back. We're back on the game. Back? Yeah, we're coming back. So we got some private money coming in, some hedge funds starting to come back in, conservative, but they're in the game. So let's talk about that. So if now for the investors, you see a property, it looks run down. How can I buy this with no money down? There's a combination of ways to do it. Let's first talk about private money. So Jay, if I have private money, and whether it's a private guy that that's got $1 million and he's looking to place it, or it's a private lender, let's say like myself, and they're telling you, hey, I'll give you 60% of the money, but you still got to come up with the rest of it. How can we structure a way to still be able to do a deal and you personally come in with it with no money down?
Got it. So they're giving me 60% of the purchase price or the value?
I'll give you 60% of the value.
Of the value. Okay.
And you need to at least put in 20% of your own money for the purchase price.
Got you. Okay, well, so we've done that many times, right? Again, you can I can go to Kevin for 60% private finance, which leaves me 20% on the deal, right? I can go raise that 20% from another private investor, right? Who will give me 20%, right? The whole amount. So I can have a loan with Kevin. Kevin could be a first. I can have another loan with another guy for 20%. That's one way to get into it with zero money down, right?
And this is what a lot of these hotel events and things like that, when you get there and they start to unload the no money down strategies, this is one of the ones that they really get into. This is about raising money with friends and family and other investors in your network to be able to put in the different, you find the deal, which is the hard part, which is why there's a lot of people with money. If you find a good opportunity, they're willing to put the money in. So you got to value the fact that if you could find the deal, that is where you bring the value, because that person with money was sitting in a bank account right now making no money. Now you're bringing an opportunity where you both can make money. That's an opportunity to come in with no money down, as Jay was explaining.
Definitely, because remember, I think a lot of time, if you're not looking at the big picture, if you say, oh, I found a deal, I'll just sell this deal to somebody else, make 5-10 grand and be out of it. But what if you get Kevin, who's going to give you 60%, right? Then you find another investor who you partner with, who gives you 20%, and then you stay in the deal, right? You negotiate equity in the deal. You know, maybe you get 40% and your partner gets 60%, right? Or 50-50 because you brought the deal plus you brought 60% of financing, right? And then you're in the deal now. So instead of just getting that quick commission, right? You're in that deal as a rental property, right? Or let's say you sell and seller financing. You get a down payment. You get a piece of the down payment, and then you get the income from that. So there's many ways to stay in that deal with no money down, and that's a good one right there. Also, like you said, I have private lenders who are just private individuals, right? Who we go to them and say, hey, how about you loan us $150,000 at 11%, right? So they give us that 11%, and then we go out and buy properties with that 150. 100% of the property of the purchase price, right? We're coming out of our pocket with zero. That 150 might be 50 for this house right there, 25 right there, 25 right there, 50. But we put no money up in any deal. We're just giving them 10% on their $150,000.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, guys, they're not necessarily handing you over 150,000, even though you might find someone that says, here you go, make it work. You start paying me as of right now, whether you have a deal or not. Yeah. Here's the loan. There's some guys that will. A lot of guys will say, hey, I got some money, find the deal, and I'll fund it. So as you find the house that's 50,000, you call them, I got a deal, here's the information. They say, cool, they'll wire the money to the title company, you close it. You find another one for 75,000, boom, and they'll start distributing and funding you that way so that you're not holding on to the money from day one. There's no right or wrong. That's just based off the relationship you create.
Because I have both. I mean, we have the guy that says, hey, here's 150, and starting on June 1st, you got to pay me 10% interest, and then I have to go find the deals. Then there's other guys who is deal by deal. The key though is when we go to these investors, remember they're protected. We're signing a mortgage and a note for their money on each property that we buy, right? So that their money is backed by the property, right? There's collateral there. And then we're buying properties at 40, 45 cents on the dollar too, right? Yeah. So it's not just, hey, Kevin, give me $100,000. Here's a handshake and I'll give it back to you in 5 years. No, we're signing mortgage documents. We're signing title documents to protect us and to protect them.
Right. Now, here's another big one that these hotel events and a lot of these infomercials go, and that's just the traditional wholesaling. So you find a deal, and how do you make money in real estate investing without putting any money down? You get it under contract, then you find someone else that's interested in buying this deal, and you sell them that opportunity, that contract's assignable, and you sell it to them for 10, 15, 5,000, 20,000 profit, whatever you decide, and whatever the person's willing to pay for it. And there, technically, all you did was whatever the blood, sweat, and tears. And if you had to pay a little marketing to get the opportunity, get that under contract, and then turn around and flip it. For example, I have a deal right now that as soon as we're done hanging up It's one right here in Miami Gardens Drive here in Miami, Florida. It's someone that responded to cold calling from a cold caller that we had that I trained probably in October, August, around there of last year. The person was interested. They have this property rented Section 8. So the government is paying the rent about $1,600 a month. The property's worth about $230, $240. It's got Section 8 guaranteed rent for $1,600 coming in. The person at the time doesn't live in the property. Obviously, she has it rented. She was interested in selling it, but wasn't that motivated. Now, in the middle of the pandemic, coronavirus, she called us back because we had a couple conversations and we're trying to get a deal done late last year. Now she's saying, hey, look, I'll take $175,000 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I'm done, I'm going to do the numbers. Probably I was kind of doing rough numbers. If I could get her down to $150,000, put it under contract, I could probably wholesale that, flip that contract for $175,000, no problem. It's worth about $230,000. It's rented for $1,600. I have plenty of investors that would want that if I decide not to keep it. So if I decide to sell that contract, that was a cold calling. So really, they just called this person off of a list that we purchased that cost us like $200. We got the numbers for it. And they called. They got this person on the line. We get it under contract. We sell it to one of our other investors in our network for $25,000 profit. I technically made money on this deal. No money down from my end. And I walk away for $25,000 flipping the contract. That is another major strategy on the big time promotion of no money down on a lot of these infomercials and hotel events.
That's awesome. Let me tell you about a deal I'm doing right now. I'm gonna raise you one. All right. I'm gonna combine the wholesale that you just said with also staying in the property. So we did a text campaign about 3 weeks ago, and I got a seller. The seller had 4 properties. It was an older investor. He's looking to retire right now, and one duplex, 3 single family homes, all fully occupied, all rented out right now in a very, very hot location where I couldn't find a deal in this area for about a year. We ended up getting all 4 of them locked up, right? So we got a price for the whole package, all 4. Okay. Then we closed on Friday. We flipped the duplex, right? We wholesaled the duplex, right? We didn't close on it. We wholesaled it to an end buyer, made $15,000 on that. But the other 3 properties, the single families that are rented out, we actually were able to negotiate the seller where he would sell those to us on seller financing, right? So he sells the duplex for cash, the 3 single family homes on seller financing. Right, we wholesale the duplex. Now we got the terms on the 3 homes. We then went around and found an end buyer for seller financing. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it. Now we go back to that wrap strategy we talked about. Okay, our down payment for the 3 was $25,000. Our down payment on our end buyer that's paying us is $40,000. So we're making another $15,000 plus a couple $100 per month for 15 years.
I love
no money
it.
out of pocket. We didn't close any property, no money out of our pocket.
I love it. All right, let's break this down in case this went over the head of anybody. I like to break numbers down.
Definitely.
All right, so we got a guy that has 4 properties. How did you pick up this lead? Do you remember?
It was a text lead. Lead.
Okay, so text message marketing, guys. We give you the exact text messages, the exact software in our training course. Go to shutupandinvest.com and you'll see how we do that. So Jory texted him. The guy responded. It turns out this is what we call a home run. This guy's got 4 properties and he says, I want to get rid of all of them. All right, cool. We're the guys that want to take all of them. Beautiful. So then you're going to go ahead and say, all right, this deal, this duplex, this one, the numbers works out that we can flip the contract that I made with this seller and make a quick what? 25,000, 15?
It was 15,000. Yep.
Okay.
15.
We made a quick 15,000 cash on this duplex contract, flip it to one of our other investors, make quick cash right there, 50,000. We didn't put no money down on that one, correct?
No money down.
Beautiful. Nope. 3 more to go. The guy says, give me $25,000 down payment. So he's asking for money down.
He's asking for terms. And Kevin, why do you think he's asking for terms in those other three? What might be a reason he doesn't want to sell off for cash?
He doesn't want to pay the taxes on all that money.
Exactly. Yeah, he doesn't want to pay the taxes on all that money.
Uncle Sam, Uncle Sam digs into your pockets, and sometimes that hurts.
Hey, so guys always say, hey, how do you find these seller financing deals? I'm telling you, most of these sellers don't want to pay those huge tax bills, So he didn't want to pay that. So he gave us terms of $25,000 down, and then he gave us a 4.5% interest rate.
Okay, I love it. So hold on a second. Hold on, because I get excited. Dang, you said you were hyped today. This is what I'm talking about.
I'm fired up, Kevin. Told you.
So this guy says, I want money down. I want $25,000. But hold on. You were like, hold on, bro. I'm doing a show on YouTube about no money down. So we can't rock this way. I don't want to give you $25,000. I made 15. I want to keep 15 on the deal that I just sold right now, the duplex. These three, you want 25,000? All right, no problem. I'm going to creatively make this happen. You went and found another guy that wants to own these three properties, and he was willing to give you $45,000 down payment.
Correct. 40,000.
40. You said beautiful. Yeah. I'll take that 40. I'll pay this guy his 25. So he got his money down, and now we keep an extra $15,000 profit. So between the two sales, right, of the three, the package of three plus the duplex, we got $30,000 cash after paying off the down payment that the original seller wanted.
Exactly.
$30,000 cash flow into the pocket.
Yep.
Beautiful. And then this guy here takes over the properties, the one who gave us the $40,000 down payment, and now he has seller financing terms, and he's paying
me. So he's paying us terms, and we're making a couple $100 a month cash flow, right? Mm-hmm. On a deal that we have no money in. So we made 15 grand plus we'll probably make, depending on how long he pays it, we got another $300 per month in cash flow on that deal.
Right. So for an extra $300 a month without having to be the landlord, if the toilet breaks, that's his property because you sold it to him. You're just being the bank. Exactly. And this is part of our mentorship program of training you guys of how to be your own bank. You were able to creatively put that deal together with this guy. The seller wanted to be the bank. You said, okay, cool. I'll take that at 4.5% interest rate. You can't find an investment loan in any bank right now for 4.5% interest rate. But a seller who's fine with that cash flow says, I'll take it all day, and you negotiate it. And there's certain ways to approach these negotiations that we can show you how. But we get it down to 4.5% interest rate. Beautiful deal. Now this guy over here is willing to pay more than 4.5% interest rate. And for usually we structure it for even more years. Definitely. So there's more cash flow. 300 right now. And if he continues to pay us and he doesn't refinance or sell it, there'll be even a bigger cash flow after the first couple of years once we pay off the original seller. So I hope you guys followed those numbers. But basically, it's got a lot of ching-ching, ching-ching, and ching-ching behind it because that's how money works. And that's a true, creative, high-level, no money down deal that gets done all day, every day, in the middle of pandemics, in the middle of low markets, in the middle of hot markets. It doesn't matter. It can get done.
And that's the key, Kevin. I'm happy you said that. In the middle of quarantines and lockdowns and stay-at-home orders and real estate shut down in certain states, right? We got this deal. At the beginning of the end of April. That was the heart of it, right? That was when people were like, paranoid to go out to do anything. They didn't want to move. A lot of investors are paranoid and perplexed and paralyzed, right? But you got to understand, man. You got to look at all these deals. It's always a good time to invest. If you can negotiate the right terms, right? It's always a good time to invest. You can negotiate the right terms, right? If you're investing for cash flow or you're flipping or whatever it is, right? It's all about the terms of what you're buying it for. And we haven't slowed down one bit. I mean, May was a really good month. April was a good month. We've been going, both of us have been going right throughout this whole pandemic.
Yes, sir. All right, we got a question from one of our YouTube. Make sure you watch us live because we take Q&A. We got Matt, Real Estate Florida. He's got a question. When we structure these creative financing deals, how do we market to the consumer at the same time and be in compliance with TILA, the TILA? That's a very good question.
That is.
Now, listen, pay attention to what we just gave in the example. We're doing seller financing terms. So once you go down and you're not marketing it as a lender or you're not marketing it as a real estate company, no, you're marketing it as the seller of the property. That changes the game right there. That right there allows a lot of leeway when you're actually marketing it as a corporation, an entity, or whatnot. And then also, obviously, what Jay always stresses in the show, if you guys have been watching, the secret sauce, when you're marketing also to other investors and they're buying in their corporate name instead of owner occupied people, that also takes a lot of liability off the plate. Because it's a commercial transaction at the end of the day. It's a business to business.
Yeah. And we do both. I mean, we do both. But again, if it's a homeowner, there's extra steps that I have to take on my end to make sure that I'm compliant with that. And there's also a difference if you're out looking for private money to raise money, or if you're selling a property on seller financing terms, right? Because if I'm out there looking to raise private money for people to invest with me, then there's a lot more legalities we have to go by, right? But this is my property that I own that I'm just going out there selling on seller financing terms.
Right. I'm glad you pointed that out. So we could get into that a little bit. And this is some of the stuff that we can help you guys out one-on-one on. And always consult a local real estate attorney and also be very careful because every state is different. But definitely, if you got a deal and you go on Facebook saying, hey, I got a great deal. Does anybody want to finance $50,000? I'll give you 10% on it. There you're asking for trouble. There you're going to be violating a lot of the SEC rules of raising capital and getting investment money. What you want to do is build a relationship with people, because at the end of the day, and this is something that we've recently started to hone in on, and we're developing our systems and our strategies so that when we take people who watch our show, who hit us up on the DMs and want to work with us, we want to first build a relationship, not only to stay in compliance, but also to make sure that this is not going to turn into a headache, issue. You want to have 3 or 4 conversations with the person and truly build a relationship and make sure you guys have the same values. You understand the exit strategies. You understand the business model. You understand the market so that the expectations are there. You understand each other. You get to know each other. And once you guys have a relationship, now you're not violating any rules because it's a friends and family, strategy.
Definitely. All money is not good money, right? Every client is not a good client. You got to be careful, because when you start getting to private money of any type, and that private money lender who's investing with you doesn't understand exactly what the details are, right? Doesn't understand that, look, this is an investment. It's not guaranteed. This can happen. That can happen. Those are some of the things. If someone's just offering to give you money, but they're not asking any questions, you might want to take a step back, before you say, yeah, I'll take that. Because you want to make sure that you're, entering into an agreement with someone who understands what an investment is, understands what real estate is, so that they're not looking at you crazy if something goes wrong.
Yeah. I would say, again, obviously consult your local legal professionals, but the magic number is 3 to 4 times. Have a conversation with them, via email, via text message, get them on the phone, do a Zoom, have a cup of coffee. Really build a relationship, talk to somebody at least 3 to 4 times before you start to structure any kind of exchanges of funding for these deals. And you'll be able to document that and that will protect you if it ever becomes an issue. So that's one way of of raising capital and not violating. But again, if you're already have a contract and you now have the rights and you're now promoting a property to be the seller on the deal because you are going to buy this property and then you're going to resell it and give seller financing terms, we're talking about two different situations versus you just marketing it as a realtor or anything like that.
Yeah,
Joe,
and Mass. Oh, what's up, Joe Ritchie? What's up, Joe? I see Jacob Armenta too. He texted for me. He's in here. He was happy when I said I got a text lead for that one deal.
Matt saying Florida, same state where you guys are. I'm sure you know the regulations in here pretty well. Yeah, I mean, every state has their thing. I heard we were on a mastermind call a couple weeks ago with an attorney in Wisconsin. Was she in Wisconsin? I think it was.
She's Wisconsin, yeah.
And they were saying you're not allowed to take money in Wisconsin outside of state lines.
Yeah.
So if you found an investor that was not in Wisconsin, you'd actually be violating rules by taking an investment from someone that's not within the Wisconsin state. So then you got to get creative of how to structure that, probably open a corporate entity within Wisconsin, and then his corporation can fund that corporation, and then that corporation that is registered and licensed in Wisconsin can now start funding the deals. So understanding the rules and the regulations can still open up the deals. You just got to make sure you're doing it legally, ethically. You want to be able to sleep at night to be able to do the type of deals we're talking about.
Yeah, I'll say 2 tips for what I do. We don't put the interest rate in our marketing. We don't put the down payment amount, right? So we're putting a price and a monthly principal and interest amount, right? First of all, down payment, we're not going to give one out. We're going to wait to see what you have to put down, right? And then interest rates, you don't want to put that. That's one thing that you can't get in trouble in certain states. We just keep it off of our marketing. But at the end of the day, again, it's a property you own that you're seller financing terms on, right? As soon as you talk to the people, you can give them any kind of information you want because it is your property.
Yeah, 100%. Matt's asking, how can we JV with us in a deal? That's a good question, guys. Listen, if you guys have any deals, no matter what market you're in, and you want us to take a look at it, reach out to us. Go to our social medias, connect with us, send us over a deal. We'd be happy to take a look, talk about it. If the deal's good and we got the resources in those areas, and we'd be happy to JV on a deal with any one of our listeners for sure.
Definitely.
So we covered wholesaling, we covered creative financing, we covered loan programs. Listen, there is guys out there that have money and they want it to work for them passively. If you earn their trust, if you get to know them, if they like you, you can potentially get someone to fund you 100%. That exists out there, but you got to do the legwork in building those relationships. So those are out there. You just got to find them. You got to build a relationship. You got to show them you're credible. You got to show them good opportunities. And more importantly, when they give you a chance, you got to deliver. You got to pick up the phone when they call. You got to make sure that if you say you're going to be there at 8 o'clock, you're there at 8 o'clock. Guys with money, they notice little things that make them question your word.
Definitely. Yeah, you got to be consistent. We say that word a lot, but you definitely got to be consistent. And let me say a huge tip too. If you get into an issue, tell them right away and tell them the truth, right? No matter how bad the issue is, just tell them the truth and tell them right away. Don't try to push it down the road, and that'll save you a lot of worries at night.
100%. I think that's a good note to end it on. Jay, you got anything else you want to share with the people?
No, man, I just want to let you guys know, like Kevin said, we're going to be bringing some free training in our group. Hopefully, like he said, in a week or two. So I've been getting a lot of questions about our text campaigns and our keywords and stuff like that. That will be in that training. we're going to basically go on how to do a virtual wholesale company from A to Z, from marketing, acquisition to the dispo. So that'll be rolling out really, really soon.
The best thing you guys can do to help us out, if you like this show, go on YouTube, subscribe, comment, like. The more YouTube love we have, the bigger we get, the more resources we can share with you guys, and the more deals we can do together. And that's our mission. We want to get everybody out there to stop talking about it and actually do it. There's deals to be done, and we need as much help as possible. So we invite all you guys to be a part of the family. And hopefully you enjoyed the No Money Down. We exposed it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And now you know what you're getting yourself into. With a little work, you can definitely get these deals.
Stop wasting money on these crazy expensive seminars. Save that money and go buy a house. Right?
Yep.
Get into a deal.
Yes, sir. All right, Jay. Let's get back to doing some deals, my friend.
Appreciate it, Kevin. All right, guys.